Hey guys, what is going on? I've got something a little different for you today. I am at the farm. I'm visiting family, and I'm here with my brother-in-law. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
So Michael has a hobby he's picked up not too long ago, and I just thought we'd share it with you today and just kind of, I'm going to ask him some questions, let him answer some. We've got a storm and maybe some tornadoes coming in, so we're going to see how long we sit out here in the drizzle.
Yeah.
So let's get going. All right, so hey, tell me exactly what we're looking at and how you kind of got started doing it.
Well, so I started whittling. I actually started whittling just to pass the time, usually in the winter time.
Yeah.
Because you can't really do anything. I would do that during the winter time, and that was a few years ago that I started. And actually, I started whittling little ornaments. But I want to show you, these are some of my very first ones that began a few years ago, and this was just with a case pocket knife.
Right? Grandpa's pocket knife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started, I had blisters all over my hands, nearly sliced my thumb off a few times. You'd have to stop and sharpen so often, but these were some of them, and some of my first paint jobs as well. So I would make these little, what I wanted to call Christmas ornaments. And the idea was my wife has like 1 million Christmas trees,
right. Yeah.
and we were going to have Christmas ornaments that were all carvings, and I had all kinds of characters, and I actually really enjoy what they call flat plane carving.
All right. What is flat plane carving?
So you think flat plane, you think of a knife. So
okay.
This is my current whittling kit that I have, and I'll go ahead and open it up here. And so
where can we get a hold of a whittling kit similar to this?
Probably Amazon.
All right, we get everything off Amazon,
yes.
Right?
But if you want to know about whittling, I definitely recommend you just look on YouTube for different whittling. There's a guy on YouTube, Linker, I think.
Yes,
Jack,
Linker.
Yes,
Yep.
And he does a lot of 1x1 series.
Yes.
And I'll show you some of that here in just a second. But I followed his 1x1 series, and this here is my go-to knife right here that I use. And I don't have a name for it. I just know that I've nearly cut my finger off a few times. It sharpens really well.
Right.
But when I say flat plane carving, you think about a knife blade, and you think it's a flat plane, and it removes. And whenever it cuts, this is a great example, and this is from the 1x1 series that Linker does of a Christmas tree. I haven't painted it yet, but you see the flat planes that it leaves behind on the wood. And so this is just like a winter, forest tree, evergreen tree of some kind. And so whenever I remove just a little bit, you see it leaves a flat plane behind. And so flat plane carving, those characters are so fun, and I really enjoy them. Here's kind of an example of one that I started. I nearly gave up on this one, though. And honestly, that's the truth. When you start this hobby, you're going to mess up a lot.
You're going to be like, this is not what I see on YouTube.
Yeah, so this was supposed to be Santa Claus. As you can see, he's got like a Neanderthal head, and
right.
He's like a cone head, right? Like, that baby had trouble.
It kind of looks like us.
Well, yeah. So yeah, this is my Santa Claus, and so these are some of my first ones, awesome. And a lot of failed attempts, but that's okay.
That's how we learn, right?
Yes. So I did pick up more flat plane carving. This is a little raccoon that I did here a while back, and again, I'm not the best at the flat plane. Like, this is my wintertime hobby, okay?
Yeah.
You can't really do anything outside, so I sit at the table and I just make a mess with wood shavings on my table, right?
Yeah.
I only need one tool, and that's my knife that I've already showed you right here. And so I just sit there and I'll just work and just pass the hours of, sitting in the cold, sitting out of the cold.
So I know not to do a full tutorial on this, because there's plenty of videos on that, but so what's the difference between that and if you were to just use a regular pocket knife, if you will?
I would think really they call that more of a whittle whenever you have just an available pocket knife. I will say you get in big blades like this, that's more for roughing it in.
Gotcha. Big chunks.
Yeah, you want to take big chunks out. I want to remove a lot of material really fast, big chunks. And I actually brought this one out. This is a piece of pine wood, and this was actually probably my very first attempt at carving.
Okay.
And so very first one, I do not recommend whittling with pine. The
too soft?
Well, you think soft wood, easy to carve.
Right.
However, the rings in it are difficult to navigate, and
Yeah.
you'll have to push through a ring, and next thing you know, you push through a whole soft patch, and you'll just take a whole face off. You know, I could just go and take that whole face.
So it's a lot like a lot of other woodworking where there's a purpose for Lowe's and Home Depot, big box store, construction lumber, and there's a purpose for other kinds of wood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Your fine furniture, for example, you're going to use your oaks, your cherries.
Sure, absolutely.
And I actually use a lot of cedar, and I found that cedar heart, especially, and if you can get just a little bit of that fat wood, works really good if it's good and dry.
Yeah.
Now there are a lot of people, spoon makers and stuff, where they will soak their wood in like water and alcohol mix to kind of keep it soft. But this is like smaller carving. And so I like it to be dry, and so I made a lot of these little characters. You know, we got like the typical gnome. We got this hippie, and he's got a knot in his beard. I don't know if these will show up on there or not, but
let's see if we can zoom in.
I made my chief, my Indian chief, and my brave here.
He's cool.
Yeah, and so you got all kinds. He's kind of like a Yosemite Sam. He's got his cowboy hat, and his mustache. But those are a lot of fun. My Viking here, we got all kinds of characters, and it's limitless. And honestly, when you start the project, you don't really know what you're going to do until you're like, oh, that kind of looks like this,
right?
And then suddenly you've got a Viking,
So you guys have watched plenty of YouTube, like we've talked about in previous videos, just like I have, and you've heard woodworkers of all kinds, whether it's carvers, small, large, furniture makers. One of my favorite guys is Bourbon Moth Woodworking. Yeah. He's very well known. He's huge on YouTube. And he said many times in many videos, sometimes I just sit and stare at it and figure out what it tells me it's supposed to do.
Right, 100%. And so I lose my attention span pretty easily.
Man, I've told him that so many times.
I know you know.
I know I do. Yeah.
I saw you searching for your coffee under the desk the other day.
I do that a lot more than on camera.
And so I have moved over. Now, whittling is the winter hobby, but the year-round hobby now is power carving. And I've been power carving since about October, I think. Yeah. So it's March now.
That's what I was thinking of. You hadn't been doing too long.
No, I have not been doing it too long. Yeah. And I have nearly fully transitioned over to that. Now, what I like about whittling or flat plane carving is it's quiet. You get to be outside and you hear the birds or whatever, Yeah. It's peaceful. That's not power carving.
I think that's the charm of hand tools for a lot of people as opposed to power tools.
And if you're a hand tool person, I get it.
Yeah. I want to become that someday.
But I can't maintain my focus that long. I've got a bag full of stuff here, of stuff I've started and not finished, or I'm not proud of because, like I said, I don't always see what it is until I've messed up something.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. I was going to make sure we're still good.
Yeah. And so whenever I'm making something, I want to find out what it is as I'm going.
Right.
And I also want to try to nearly complete something in one setting if I can. And so that's where the power carving comes in. That's difficult.
Yeah.
And I know for fine woodworking and stuff, you're gluing something up, you got to wait a day or 2 or 10, epoxy stuff. That's not for me anymore.
So you're not naturally patient. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I've known him 9 or so years now, so I figured that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling me out.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I'm not either. They've known that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was getting at is you said you're switching over, and because you want to kind of be able to knock your project out at one time. And what you alluded to is the same thing as me. If I start something and I set it to the side,
I'm bad to not go back.
I may not go back to it at all.
Yeah.
100%.
I've got some examples of
I've got projects all around my shop. Why don't you show some of those?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start off. This is a set of spoons that I made for my wife, and I did use a rotary tool for this. And so just a few different spoons, and I went with like a vine theme here for all these spoons, so they are a matching set. And so we have different ones. I guess it would work better if I set them down. Huh? So we have different ones, and you put the little crooks and curves and thorns and branches in it. And it's got areas on each one of them where you can put a nail in some, you can hang them up on the wall.
Gotcha.
So you also, when it comes to making tools like this, you want to kind of have a purpose as well. Now these are definitely decorative. This ladle, I did have to glue this one up, and you can see really well. You can see the 2 different tones of wood there. Glued it up and then carved out the ladle. This was my first time to ever make spoons, my first attempt.
That's pretty good for a first attempt.
Yeah, and this is the last one. Now, I believe this one was made from basswood, which is just what I had available at the time. Flat plane carvers and hand tool carvers, they do a lot of basswood because it carves well. Power carving, I actually don't like it as much.
Too soft again?
Actually, my problem with it is it's too dusty. Now,
Okay.
power carving is really dusty.
Yeah.
It's a big mess. Can't do that one at the kitchen table. And so,
Well, you could, but you might get in trouble.
no, I will get in trouble. There's no question. But first time doing a tool. But what I really like to do, it's a ton of fun. I love carving wood spirits, and of course, that's what all of these are. These are just different spirits, right?
Right.
And so this was my very first power carved wood spirit. This is a piece of sycamore.
That's
and
cool.
So I carved it, and right here there was a knot coming out of the tree going this way, and I turned that into a nose.
It became a nose, right?
It became a nose, and I was looking at it, and I go, man, that looks like his nose is broken. And so I decided to form a face that looked like he got punched in the face, and that's what this one is called. It's called Punch to the Face. And so
It looks like he was on Mike Tyson's Punch Out from back when we were younger.
also, this was my first, I've experimented with like burning versus different stains. And so this one's really just a Frankenstein project of me just trying different things.
So is this a one sitting deal?
Yes, I knocked this carving out in under an hour.
Under an hour.
Yeah, under an hour.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I love,
Wow.
That's what I like about power carving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to make, so just as a reference, I tried to make some Christmas trees on a flat piece of like fence picket and carve out. Saw a video on YouTube, Christmas decor stuff for the craft booth, and I got the main shape done. I started doing details, and I actually got impatient with it and never went back to it.
Yeah.
So but it took me longer than hours.
Right.
So that's really impressive.
So first wood spirit, and
That's
wood
awesome.
spirits don't really have rules. They don't have anatomical rules. Like
Right.
their forehead can be super big or really small. This one's got a really long jaw. If you met a person whose face was like this, they would look like a cartoon character.
Correct.
So that's what's fun about wood spirits. This wood spirit doesn't have eyes. Instead, I carved slits, and I used the shadow, the drop shadow there, to make it give that effect that he's like squinting his eyes or something like that.
Well, he just got punched in the nose.
Yeah, he did get punched. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So yeah, my first wood spirit, I did not have eyes, and I tried some different like polyurethane type stains, and I didn't really like how that turned out. It just kind of looks like I rolled this guy in the mud a little bit. So I'm not as pleased with this one.
I think it looks pretty good.
Well, thank you. This was my first though.
That's impressive.
So since then, I've tried to challenge myself. And that's really what it is. It's one challenge after another. Push yourself. And so I wanted to go with different features. The thing about wood spirits, and as you can see on nearly every one of these are bearded men. Now,
well, why wouldn't they be?
right, exactly. I mean, is it a man if not a beard, right? But
Depends on who you ask, I guess.
But as far as carving goes,
Yeah.
I didn't want to just do the same thing over and over. So this guy, I wanted to go no beard at all. And then as I was making it, again, another knot that was weird, and I decided to keep the tree element and make the knot into a nose. Now, he's cockeyed on purpose. So this one was my first attempt at doing actual eyes. And again, it was another one where there was a knot coming out of the tree. I turned it into a nose, but I left it looking like a tree. There's no rules with wood spirits, and that's what I love. And so I wanted to do something that wasn't bearded,
right?
You know, because beards are actually kind of easy to carve, you know,
and good looking. I've
got a beard one here. I'll show you in a second. But I wanted to do something different. But this was my first attempt at eyes, and the eyes are going in opposite directions on purpose. So, but the bags and the lids and getting all that detail in there, I had to practice at that. And so this was a practice attempt that I actually ended up keeping and liking.
That's awesome.
He does look like Pennywise, though. Pennywise the clown. He does kind of haunt me a little bit. So there is that. But this was my first attempt at that. Open mouth, that was another thing for me. I wanted to do a smile. And you got to think about where these creases are.
Yeah. Well, I hide mine because I'm getting older and there's more of them.
No, I feel like I have more and more wrinkles, though. Watching that camera. That wind's blowing. There's naders out there.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to create animals, and this is a bear coming out of a log. This comes from the same piece of sycamore that all these other power carvings have come from. And so you can take the same log, and what I love about it is what's inside there. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's limitless. And so here's a bear. My wife did the painting. I did kind of burn the log to give it a little bit of texture there. But I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then
you've been naming them. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
bear on a log, real original. Right? This one's Pennywise, right?
Sometimes simple is better.
But this one here is probably the first carving that I'm saying, heck yeah, dude. Like,
Okay.
all right, I'm pretty proud of this one.
Yeah.
Typical wood spirit. I call it Rivals. And this guy, he's got, battle scars, right? He's got the beard, which is very flowy. You can see why a beard would be pretty easy to do versus a chin or something, because you just kind of hack away at it a little bit. You don't have to worry about detail as much. But we've got the authentic eyes. You can decide, do you want your eyes like more bulging? Do you want them set up under the brow? I wanted him to be kind of angry looking, right? And so then I wanted to give him character.
Okay.
Like, this is you
Okay.
until I gave him character.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Y'all like that? See that stab right there?
Yeah, so anyways, I gave him character. You
Right.
should try this. I think you would look great with 3 scars going down
Oh,
your face.
okay.
Recommended.
Well,
I've got some tools. I've got this knife.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, they've watched some of my videos. I don't wear all the safety equipment all the time, so that could happen.
how dare you? But I wanted this carving to also tell a story, and it's called Rivals, and that's because the question now becomes, how did he get this scar? And the answer is right on the back with the mountain lion, who also has a scar of his own.
Oh, yeah.
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 And so you can set it like that and display it like this, where it's like this dichotomy of 2 different things here, these 2 enemies. And but I wanted the mountain lion to look like he's coming out at you. And so you got the claws coming out, crawling into the rock in front of him. And so this one right here is my first one that I'm actually saying, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think
All
I'm
right.
doing it now. Like, we're in it now. And so this has just opened up a whole new world to me.
Oh, man. So, quick question. We got the wind coming in, so we'll wrap up. But so, have you always been naturally artistic? Like, can you? Because a lot of people look. I can get a piece of wood, a limb or whatever you're going to use, but I can't. Some people can't see. See the carving in the wood. So, is that something that you just always been able to do? I know you're musical,
Right. Well,
musically talented, but
yes. Well, I mean, I showed you a raccoon earlier that looks like, a little kid made it out of clay,
that's all right.
And so would you look at this and go, yeah, an artist made that?
Well, maybe.
How about my very first piece of pine wood that I carved right here? This is the very first one. Don't use pine wood. It's terrible for carving. But I just had a little pocket knife and I carved that.
Yep.
You look at that and you say, an artist did that. I don't think you're just always are some people more artistically driven and gifted? Yes, but everyone starts somewhere, and it just takes a little bit of practice. And once you have kind of learned the anatomy of it and the way the face lays and stuff, once that, it just starts to come to you after that.
So it's kind of like, if any of you draw, I mean, I used to kind of draw when I was younger. And everybody always says the eyes are the hardest part, and you said you started getting into eyes after you did a few of them.
Yes.
So very similar. You start off with features, and you build your way up.
Right, correct. Start simple. Don't be afraid to fail. I put all my failures out here.
We like to do that on this channel.
Look, do you want to talk tools real quick?
Let's talk tools real fast. Yeah, the wind died down. Actually, I can see some blue up here.
Yes, it's a sign. We should talk about tools.
Let's talk about tools.
All right. So I use a Dremel 4300.
All right.
And I use the flex shaft on there.
I've seen that on videos.
Definitely recommend that.
Yep.
It is very handy. It gives you that ability to just kind of pencil it in, right? This is for smaller carving. I've got a big log over here that I'm turning into a full-size Sasquatch.
We'll come visit that when you get that done.
Yes. That involves a chainsaw, a grinder, and, like a die grinder as well. But this is for smaller carvings like what I've showed you here. And all these carvings I've used with these tools. Dremel 4300, and then my main bits. And I bought the 5-piece rotary burr kit from Kutzall. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but
if they want to call.
Usually, for you that carve, Kutzall is typically kind of the little more premium brand compared to some of the what we refer to as Amazon brands. Even though you can buy them on Amazon, a lot of them. But
highly recommend, pay the money, get this stuff. And especially if this is a starter kit, like a variety pack, I highly recommend the Extreme Flame Burr. This is the one that I do most of my roughing out with, just like you use your big knife.
Yeah.
And I showed you how you could remove a lot of material fast.
Yep.
That's what this is, right? And then the only other one is the, well, I can't pull it out of there now, so I guess I'll never use it again.
Well, that's all right.
Is the medium grit burr here, and this one helps get into the eyes. I then use some of these gold ones to smooth things out, specifically this one. This one gets in around the eyes, like these creases. You can see these creases up in here, and they go around. And then for actually carving and burning out around eyes, this is my bit that I go to, and I don't know what this one's called, but you can get this at like any big box store.
Yeah.
That you want. And so there is that. And then for more fine detail, I bought this at Harbor Freight.
Man, those are small.
They are small, and they're like I don't know if these are called like diamond grit or something like that. I can't remember, but they have very specific pieces in here that like go in under, so you can like undercut around certain things.
Like your guy with the teeth. Well, you could use a bigger one, I guess, for that.
No, like so on the eyelids.
Yeah,
so
small
you can get in under the eyelid that way. So this is for very small areas. I use that one there that goes undercutting a lot more there. But that is what I recommend for those things. And so this kit right here cost me $7, I think, something like that. Be expecting a call from Harbor Freight too. And then
we'll take it, Harbor Freight. I got plenty of Harbor Freight tools in the shop. So. And
the variety pack I think was like 60, maybe 70 bucks, and then $100 for a Dremel 4300.
Yep.
But that was it. How many hobbies have you started that you could start up for like 150 bucks?
Yeah, that's actually something that we've talked about on the channel briefly is starting up on a budget. And we have actually a future video coming out once all these other ones I've got planned coming, and it's going to be talking about starting a woodworking business for like craft fairs and things for under $200.
Oh, nice. So
this actually fits great into that kind of concept because
I expect a check in the mail.
Oh, well, okay. So anything else you want to tell them about just the enjoyment of whittling or the hobby or recommendation for getting started, like literally getting started?
Look, all I'm saying is we were created to be creative.
Absolutely.
And we need to express ourselves somehow. And I can't think of a better way to enjoy nature than to like use nature to make nature, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just a really cool concept.
Yeah.
And you can look at this and you might say, wow, Michael, that was awesome. You made that? No. Man, I serve a God who made that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like copycat, and I'm copying his homework. And his moves around, mine doesn't.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's all I got. I mean,
if that starts moving, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Take care.